Monroe's mother had always been much better at starting things than finishing them. When she died, she left behind over 300 canvases, not one of them finished, along with Monroe, who felt pretty unfinished himself. The orphanage allowed him to keep only one painting, and so he chose the Unfinished Swan that had always been his mother's favorite. But that night, he woke up to find the swan had disappeared. So he took his mother's silver paintbrush and followed the footprints into a little door he hadn't seen before.
Unfinished Swan was originally released on the PlayStation 3 back in October 2012, and for one reason or another, I never downloaded it. I honestly have no idea why that is, because this is actually a game I was extremely interested in from the moment I saw the very first trailer. There was just something unique about it, sort of like how I felt about Journey. Anyways, fast forward to May 2015, and Unfinished Swan is a free giveaway game for PlayStation Plus members for the duration of this month's offerings. So if you like what you see here, act fast before the game is no longer available and goes back to its $15 asking price. Well, thinking of the way I have videos queued up, the odds are when you see this, it will no longer be available for free. But for $15, you get the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, and Vita version. That's right, it's one of those cool cross-buy titles. Okay, with all that mumbo-jumbo out of the way, let's talk about the game itself. Unfinished Swan tells the story of Monroe, a recently orphaned boy whose poor mother just passed away. All he has left of her is a painting, her favorite painting in fact, the Unfinished Swan. One day, when Monroe looks at the painting, he sees that the swan is missing, flown away into the painting itself, into the vast emptiness of nothingness. Monroe follows, and moments later the player is left in the same emptiness, in what can only be described as, well, something that is utterly unique. Here you are in first person, staring at a huge white screen with a reticle in the center. At first, I didn't even realize I was controlling anything, as I kind of expected there to be some sort of prompt or instructions to inform me what I was supposed to do next. To my amazement, that never happened, and so I started pressing buttons, and when I pressed the R2 button, something pretty incredible happened. My virtual representative threw a ball of black paint and it hit something directly in front of me. With that, the incredible uniqueness that is Unfinished Swan began. It's truly an amazing experience to see objects, and in essence, entire stages come to life as you throw black gobs of paint at what might just be nothing, or what could be something special and awe-inspiring. I've never experienced anything like this before in a video game, and what's even more impressive is that after a short period of time walking around, you get to look back at the creation you've made, because while you're trying to make your way through this mysterious area, you're the one who is actually putting the finishing touches on this would-be masterpiece. The first stage absolutely blew my mind, and it kind of made the rest of the game a little bit of a disappointment, only because of how gobsmacked I was when I first played the game. So my first impression was just so utterly great. The reason why is because as you move on to the second, third, and fourth stages, things start to take shape, literally. You go from throwing black paint to throwing water, which just isn't the same. The way you traverse in the second level is all about growing vines to reach inaccessible areas. And while it remains fun and rewarding, no doubt, it can't possibly match that thrilling nature of the first level. The third stage uses an illumination trick as its sort of quirk, and while there are moments in that level that nearly reach the fantastic thrills of the first level, it's just not quite the same. And then the fourth level in itself is kind of unique, but not in terms of gameplay, but in story, which I don't really want to discuss because I might spoil the game for you. This is an extremely short game, I might add, but one that remains fun throughout. However, I was so utterly impressed by that starting area that I just can't help but say that I was a little bit disappointed by the rest of the game. Now, that doesn't mean it isn't fun. It is fun. I just think that, you know what? It may have been better off to leave that first experience to the end of the game and build up to sort of like a climax. The PlayStation 4 version runs at a perfectly smooth 60 frames per second and is in glorious native 1080p. The game is fantastic and easily worth the $15 asking price, especially considering you get 2 other versions of the game. And I've gone on and on of just how majestic that first level is, and it truly is. But as a whole entire package, this one's an easy recommend, especially if you like unique games. Go out there and get it. Even if it isn't free, it's well worth the $15 asking price.
For the first time in weeks, Monroe felt good. He felt even better when the wind pushed him close enough to reach the swan. He was feeling so good, in fact, that he forgot all about his fear of heights. But when the swan wriggled free and Monroe fell over the side, he remembered almost immediately. That might have been the end of Monroe if this were a shorter story, but it isn't, which is why Monroe's troubles were just beginning.